Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Dogs Down South. Hope you're having a great evening. I got my co-hosts here tonight. What's going on, Fish? What's going on, Rich? How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
What's up, man? Doing
Man,
good.
it is.
Try not to melt as usual.
We were just talking about before we got on, man. It is definitely that time of year, man. It is melting season as we speak. So, crazy stuff, man. How's your week going? Anything exciting? One exciting thing that happened to you today, or Monday or Tuesday?
I woke up.
Nothing exciting up here.
Man, you guys are okay. I know what it is, man. You just want to talk football. That's it. You're like, look, all this
That's
food, just want to get into
the
football.
only excitement on the horizon.
I hear
I
you.
told you I hate August and September.
I hear you,
Yeah.
man. I hear you. Well, listen, let's hop right in then, man. So I dropped a little video earlier today. Kirby Smart had a weekly presser today. Different time, obviously, middle of the week. So that was kind of cool. He hit on a few questions. I mean, he was Kirby-esque, right? You know, just not really giving up a lot of info, just very
Stoic.
bland about a lot of things. But it's a good word for it, stoic. But he did give some information out that I think maybe Fish, you mentioned, brought up something about. Maybe no, it wasn't you. Might have heard it on TikTok Live, but Drew Bobo apparently part of the reason why he was held out of scrimmage this past weekend was he was dealing with some sort of finger injury. Maybe they thought it was a broke finger or something of that nature, but he cleared it up very quickly today. He said nothing going on with Drew. He played every snap of practice the day before. We're all good there. I'll start with that. Let's start there. I'll ask you first. Like, how important is Drew Bobo after obviously the playoff run last year, or lack of run last year, and how important is Drew Bobo to this offensive line this year?
Well, first of all, I think Kirby needs to make him wear like a boxing glove or something on his hand, because last year it was the thumb and now it's a finger, supposedly. I mean, come on. I don't even know if it's on the same hand or not, but get the man a matching pair and let's make sure he's protected.
Right?
I think we all saw how important he actually is. God bless Malachi Tolliver, but I think Ole Miss was too much for him. They cooked up a scheme, and he looked a little lost at times out there. I mean, he did okay against Bama. He was serviceable, but apparently, Ole Miss was a much stiffer competition than Alabama was at that point in the season last year. So, but Drew Bobo is super important. The center is the most important, other than the left or right tackle. Depending on the whatever handedness your quarterback is the most important position on the field, other than quarterback.
Right. Yeah, 100% agree, man. I feel like Drew Bobo is spot on. The Ole Miss game, he was missed. I mean, different game than in Athens, right? And then we get into, sometimes neutral sites are, you think about it, it's like, well, the word neutralize, it neutralizes both sides, but like sometimes it can be a little bit different. It can kind of get in our heads. I mean, I know there's a couple of games happening at the beginning of the year that they're playing at neutral sites, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like if I were to go back and I had the opportunity to be at home to open up the season, I would do so the same. And so it didn't pan out for us. I mean, I've even heard that Malachi Tolliver and Cortez Smith are really battling it out for that backup center role, right? And you got we mentioned it last week. Richman mentioned it. We got a lot of these guys that can float over and play center, and some of these centers that can float over and play guard. So the versatility is there, but I agree with you. What about you, Rich? I mean, what do you think about Drew Bobo? Like, what do you think about him and his importance to this team and the boxing glove? I agree with the boxing glove comment.
Yeah, and get him some padded shoes too, so he doesn't hurt his foot again. I mean, he's a captain of the offensive line. He's the one that's calling the shots, and it was just it was very evident when he was out that we were missing that communication and that ability to call those shots in the playoffs. I mean, without him, I mean we might be in a better situation if he went out this year because of the experience Tolliver got, but I mean, still, he's crucial.
Yeah,
to get on a run like
we
would like to get on a run. We need that offensive line to stay healthy this year and try to stay away from this injury stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Side note, I mean, obviously he wasn't in the scrimmage we just talked about from this past Saturday, and we haven't gotten together since scrimmage 1. But a lot of things coming out of camp are that was the scrimmage that ended camp. Obviously Monday classes started, the players are back on campus, so on and so forth, and back in their normal environments, not in a hotel room and things of that nature. But some of the comments that were made were that obviously the offense once again struggled to get sustained drive, struggled to do a lot of things that they really wanted to set out and do for this year. But I think one thing that came out by Kirby today, and it's worth talking about, is that I think he let something out that he normally wouldn't, is that the game plan was kind of very similar to G-Day as well. There was a game plan behind what the offense was allowed to do, right? Two things that came out were they did not want Gunner and all the quarterbacks they did not want them to scramble. They wanted them to stick in the pocket and to make throws, right? Okay, so that was one thing. So that kind of helps me understand that, was this really the baddest news we could have heard out of scrimmage 1, right? The second thing is that 74% of the plays that happened in scrimmage 1 were passing plays, and 47% of those plays were for 20 yards or more. So that was like, okay. So my thing is I want to kind of toss around is like, how much can we really believe in the defense kind of dominating scrimmage 1? Because that tells me that, like, when I'm a defensive defender and I know that the game plan is that we're gonna throw the ball 75% of the time, in this secondary, this defense, I kind of feel better about coming out of scrimmage 1 with somewhat of a plot like that. What do you guys think about that? I mean, how does that kind of hit? Does that change your outlook on how the opinion was coming out of scrimmage 1?
Well, yeah, definitely that makes a difference. But I think the thing that everybody's worried about is all the drops. I didn't see it, so I don't know what kind of drops they had. I don't know if they were, clear drops, or did the defensive backs have a lot of input in those drops? Don't really know.
Right.
So we don't really know what we're dealing with.
Right. Fish, what do you think? I mean, I know, Fish, you mentioned it too. We were texting and you were like, apparently the defense won the day, and there was you mentioned the drops as well. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, that's usually how the first scrimmage goes. The defense has the better day, and and the offense goes and they take notes and they work on some things and they come back and they look a lot better the next scrimmage, which is what I expect to happen.
I mean, that usually happens the first 2 or 3 games of the season. You're still working out the offense.
Yeah. And I don't mind playing, Tennessee Tech and Western Kentucky back to back, weeks 1 and 2, because in my opinion,
Correct.
I mean, yeah, it's not a great game to watch, but it's a great game to work out the rest of the kinks before we have to play Oklahoma.
Right.
No doubt.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. A lot was said about the heat, right? So apparently Kirby let it be known that 114-degree heat index on the field today, and he talked to some of the parents about some of that. There were parents that were allowed in. There was no media or anything like that. Although I don't know to what extent they're going to allow in this next scrimmage, but he talked about the heat. But he also he said something today that was kind of not Kirby-esque, and he talked about how it sounded like an excuse. I don't think he was going for this, but he was like, it's not normal for us to go, hey, it's hot, it's crazy hot on the field, and it gets sweaty, it gets nasty, their hands get sent. It's like we continued to make them to throw the ball. We continued. And so to me, that plays in the hands of this defense. And defense, don't get me wrong, had a great spring camp, or continue to have a great fall camp, and it continue to have a great fall as we speak. And there's just a lot of depth out there, but I do think that plays into it a little bit, but it made me feel a little bit better. But it also continues to let me know that I think we feel decently good about the run blocking. I think we feel and we're also playing smart, right? I mean, there's no reason to sit out here and run block for 75-80% of the practice. We know that's where the injuries come in. Running backs, etc. I mean, we don't need to kill off the rest of the depth that we have in the running back room. So a lot of things play out, and it's a chess match in that. Next thing I will tell you is scrimmage 2 is coming up this Saturday, and they're kind of calling this the most important scrimmage of the year, right? This is the one that lands in fall. This is the one where you land yourself 2 weeks out of the first game. They're going to start to look at what the real depth chart is, not the one that we try to put together for them. And they try to look at who's going to be the most productive players that are going to give them time in each area. So it's a very important. I've heard it said it's more important than the G-Day game. And so, what are some things really quick that scrimmage 2 for each of you guys? If you had to give me just a couple of things, I'll let you go, Fish, first. What would you think are some things you want to see out of scrimmage 2 and you would like to hear to make you feel better going into like prep week for Tennessee State?
Just that the wide receivers looked a little better. I mean, that's super important. The defense is going to be the defense. The defense is going to be good, and I think they're a little further along and a lot closer to being ready than the offense is right now. And yeah, I would be lying if I said if I had to pick a unit to be worried about, it would be the offense. But on what level?
Right.
Like what scale out of 1 to 10? Who knows? Because I wasn't there, I didn't see the scrimmage, but drop balls is something that Georgia fans can look back on and remember. Like a few years ago, we had a season. Carson Beck's last year there, I think that season was plagued with drops, and me and Rich were talking about that earlier. How it had to have gotten in his head. I'm going to throw it, but oh my God, are they going to catch it? And that's
right.
It's scary. I have a little trauma from that season, and hopefully we can fix some of those issues.
Yeah. Dude, I can't tell you, our group chat I had to keep you guys from, I think, throwing your phones over the rails sometimes. Richman, what about you, man? Like, if you had to say a couple things you really would like to hear went the right direction coming out of scrimmage 2, what would they be?
Yeah, hopefully in this next scrimmage, they kind of open it up a little bit and maybe go 50-50 and keep the defense back on their heels a little bit, and then, hopefully we'll see these receivers kind of, I guess, get over these jitters and let's see if they can actually catch a ball. Because like he said, we don't want to go through another season with, I think they dropped 50% of the attempts. It was crazy.
Yeah. I agree.
You cringe every time the quarterback dropped back,
Yeah. Yeah. Just one thing you haven't heard a lot about, and that I thought this would be notable to bring up because I want to ask this question too. But, with the drops, I also remember that year we didn't tackle like the normal, Georgia defense tackles, right?
Yeah, it was bad.
I haven't heard anything about tackling this fall. I mean, or spring. So I'm knock on wood a little bit, but usually you hear it coming out. If it's when you hear some of these guys, you hear that tackling is something that continues to come up. And I haven't heard that. As a matter of fact, I've heard a lot more about the hoopla has been who's been hitting who. It's been like a hit fest at some of these fall camps.
I heard a stat. I didn't know this. Khalil Barnes, when he came at Clemson, had 7 interceptions, but he had 3 caused fumbles. And I was thinking, man, the dude can catch, but he can also, sounds like, come up and lay the wood to somebody. So that's pretty exciting, actually.
Yeah, I think Khalil's settled in. If I'm predicting right now, I think he will be the star for us. I think Star gives him a little bit more of that Javon Bullard availability to go, flex in the box a little bit, flex out of the box a little bit. He can be in there on,
it makes more
a dime and nickel personnel. Yeah, I think they want him, like you said, they want him in there a little bit more. This defense the secondary is just showing between the corners and the safeties, man, are just showing a lot of versatility. And for me, some of this defense is really starting to show some of those older Georgia teams where the safeties were a little bulkier, the Greg Blue days of you don't want to run into this guy. You don't want to come across the middle. Yeah, Thomas Davis is a great name. So I don't want to speak too early, man, but it's really good to hear that coming out of fall practice and fall camp. Let me ask you this. This is a loaded question because this is a question that a lot of people have asked me. What do you think we've seen the most? Where do you say we've seen the most difference in Gunner? Because they asked this to Kirby today. But like in the what you've been reading, like what do you think the biggest difference we'll see in Gunner this year if you had to kind of make that? Richman, I'll ask you first. What do you think the biggest things we'll see difference-wise in Gunner?
I saw the Kirby presser, and he was asked that question he was talking about. And he said that there's nothing like striking that he's doing so much better, but he said he's got more confidence. He's more comfortable. He's making better calls. He's getting them in the right formations.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also getting the ball out quicker, is what he said. With all of that, man, I mean, I think this season is going to be heavy on how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
But if he plays a little bit better than he played last year, and he's consistent and doesn't let the ball get away from him, man, we could be looking at something really, really exciting this season.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I agree. Fish, what's your take on that?
I feel like all he needs to do this year is he doesn't have to be the superstar, the Heisman, trophy winner. He needs to go out there and be Greg McElroy, that year, 2008, 2007, when he led Bama to, the national championship. Like, he was surrounded by talent, and all he had to do was not mess up. Like, just a game manager. He was a really good game managing quarterback, and I hate to use an Alabama quarterback. I guess I could have said Aaron Murray because he was similar, but Aaron Murray, I don't know, was a lot more dynamic, I think. But anyway, the quicker release, not winding up and it taking him 3 seconds from, start to wind up to release, to get rid of the ball. That's going to be huge, because that telegraphs what's about to happen, and those players react quick. They can stop on a dime and change direction and go, oh no, he's throwing it over here, he's throwing it over there, whatever. That was a big problem for him last year, and I think kind of hamstrung him a little bit, but that's, other than that, I mean, there wasn't much he did wrong. I want him to start sliding a little bit, stop leading with his head.
Hopefully with these improvements, you'll see he won't run the ball as much because he'll have other options. He's making quicker decisions. Yep. He's seeing receivers that he didn't see last year. Those are the things I think that would really, really enhance the offense and protect him.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. To add to that, to piggyback on that, like I think the biggest difference, and I did see the presser too as well, and not to double up on what he said, but I've heard more of Gunner being that less silent. Last year you heard, he was a grab your lunch pail kind of guy, going to work every day, but now, they step in that huddle and they have no question about who is running that offense. He is a loud voice in that room. He's a loud voice in that huddle and on that field. He's leading. He is coaching on the sideline. And here's the thing: coaching on the sideline doesn't just help Georgia, right? As a team, coaching on the sideline also helps Gunner, because one thing I heard Kirby say is we're getting lined up quicker. He used the word 9-word calls in. I don't know what that means. I know you heard back in the day, man. Either. It was like, I guess it's like, right flanker, left Chevrolet, on to brake, hut, car wash. I don't know, man. And from that, I don't know. That's a play that we don't know. And it takes 9 words, because car wash was, I don't know, somebody's getting their clock cleaned around the corner. Hut means it's on 2. I don't know, man. But maybe that's what it means, right? But and I think funny. What I heard Sokovie White-Helton say was that Gunner has more touch on his passes this year. It's a little less floppy, little less like, oh, it's just getting in the vicinity. It's got more touch. It's got more, I'll tell you something last year that keeps 20-yard and play action plays from hitting like they should, right? Play action means you got to throw the ball ahead so the guy can run and get it, and that's how it exposes the defense. Now, when you sell the play action and you throw the ball behind somebody, or you throw a pass they have to kind of lose momentum to get, it takes you from a 5 or 10-yard game and it gives you the momentum to become explosive and have 20, 30 yards, because you're catching the ball in stride with touch, and you're able to easily have your eyes ahead of you and see who's coming at you, right? That's the difference maker. I think we're going to see the biggest thing is throwing the ball with touch and allowing some of these receivers to be able to create in space. And I think we didn't have that much last year with Gunner. I really don't. Let's dive into this before we hit, scrimmage 2 and what we think we want to see from that a little more. And I think, go into actually like what's going to happen after scrimmage 2. What does it look like for Dog fans as we get into week 1? Who are we preparing for? Things of that nature. But I want to go around and kind of say like, we call this a separation week, right? This will separate. You're going to see good on good. You're going to see a scrimmage 2 and you're going to see a scrimmage 3. What you're going to see out of scrimmage 3 after this weekend is a lot of threes and scout team really playing to get more reps, playing to get more speed of the game, and obviously playing to see who's going to be depth and who's going to be more practice squad, right? But I would say when we separate, like, who are we seeing? Like, if we could name one wide receiver, right, that we really feel like, and I know that we don't get a lot of this, like we don't really know, but one wide receiver who we think is really separated and who we think will get a lot of the go-to first 2-3 weeks of the season. Who do we have in mind? It doesn't even matter if we say the right name altogether, but I thought it would be cool to go around and see what we thought about that. Richman, who do you think, if anybody, has separated themselves as far as wide receiver 1?
I think London Humphrey probably will be, but I still think early on Talon is going to get a lot of targets because they want to see if he's going to be the guy. I mean,
right.
he should be the guy. That's what we all thought.
Right.
So I think he's going to get plenty of targets, but I think London Humphrey has kind of proved himself to be maybe he's the possession receiver, but I just don't know.
Yeah, man. Well, I can tell you that Lab McConkey was a possession receiver too, but I'd take Lab McConkey back. If he wanted to come grab his 5th year, I wouldn't be against it. We're going to talk about that later too. Fish, who do you think separated themselves? And if it's not too cliche to say the same thing, but if you got somebody, I'd love to hear it.
No, Landon Roden, whatever his name is, apparently had a really good scrimmage. Yeah, and made some good plays, made some really nice plays. London Humphreys is what I was going to say too, obviously, because just of the continuity, the used to being around each other him and Gunner have. They played together a little bit. Gunner hasn't been with a lot of these guys or doesn't have the same amount of reps with some of these guys, that he has with London. I'm hoping Canyon can, get over the drops and, he made some big plays. They said he made a couple of really nice catches, but he also was plagued with drops.
I heard the same thing.
And, those are drive stallers. They make, they make them a real big, good play. And then, they get stuck. They get down to about, inside the 40 on the other side of the field, 40, 35, the opponent's 40, 35 yard line. And then they just kind of get stuck, and hopefully we can fix all that, before season starts.
Right. Yeah, and not to be, I think it's London Humphreys. I agree with all of you guys. I think even though he is a possession receiver, I think he's going to be a person that Gunner feels like, I call him Mr. 3rd and 7, right? I mean, he feels like if I throw his way, he's got the best opportunity to make a play for me. And sometimes if we're hitting explosive plays, if we're calling 20-yard plays, I don't need you to run, 20 more yards. I got my 20, We flip the field a little bit type thing. So I like London a lot. I think this is going to be a year for him, man. I think he could put up some Lab McConkey type numbers. I really do. Feel good about him. Offensive line. Let's put it this way. I think pretty much this will be the first 5 we'll see. And then I'll add this question. Maybe it'll be more cliche. I think from left to right, we're going to be looking at left tackle, you're going to be looking at Ernest Green. Left guard, you're going to be looking at Dontrell Glover. Obviously at center, you're going to be looking at Drew Bobo. I think right guard, I think Zakai Helton has not done anything to say he's not going to be there. And I think right tackle, you're going to see Juan Gaston. But Kirby said something today that was a little wild. He mentioned, he said, you guys have been blowing this up about Juan, but, me and Juan had a little conversation and he said, look, you're going to have to get more, you're going to have to get in better shape. I need you to go more than 9 or 10 plays. I need you to sustain a drive. And he said, I need you to stop listening to what everybody's saying about how good your spring is going. I mean, I'm sorry, your fall's going. And I need you to start like owning the day. And he said, he's like, I'm not down on Juan. I think Juan's a really good football player, and he loves football, and he's coachable. But like apparently what Kirby's trying to say is, and we don't know with Kirby, right? He might just try to dial it back so that Juan doesn't get too much in his head that he's having a really great camp and he's in the best playing weight he's ever been. So it's like, I'm going to go out here and just cruise. But like, who do you guys feel like is like that? Where do you guys, is it the guard position? Is it the tackle position? Center? I mean, where do you guys feel like the anchor on this line? Where are we going a lot this year when the yards are needed? Richman, you're an offensive line guy that always chimes in. I'll let you go first.
I think we're going left. I heard, we're just hearing stuff, but I heard that they said Green's in the best shape he's been in since he got to Athens, and health wise, because he's had nagging health injuries all along, and they're saying he's in the best shape he's ever been in. So if that's the case, because he has looked phenomenal at times, I'm thinking the left may be our strong side.
I like it. Fish? Go right. No, right. You can agree.
No, right up the middle, bro. Between the tackles. Yeah. No, Ernest Green is the left tackle, as I was kind of mentioning to earlier, is going to be a very important position. That's going to be blindside. Like, you can't overstate the importance of that. But that, I feel like that, I mean, that's important. But I like, straight up the middle, like Nate busting up right through, right between, right in the B gap, straight, just busting through for ripping off about 20, 25 yards. That's what I want to see. That's what I like to see. And we got beef up there, like we got some dudes, that could, I totally see that being something that we utilize a lot.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think we all feel good about wherever we run the ball, right? But here's what I would tell you too, in addition to that, is this line is really, really good this year. Like, it's really good. I'm hearing the cohesiveness. We're hearing, the dynamic of playing together. I mean, you can have a talented offensive line, but they don't have continuity and they can't play together. It's all a bunch of guys for themselves, and they're not out to see what they can do to benefit the team. Phil Rauscher, man. I mean, are we gonna sit there and like scratch our head on Stacy Searles when we see this line and go, where the hell has this offensive line been for the past 3 years at Georgia? Because there's been talent, and don't get me wrong, like, we ran the ball better last year, but did you guys notice that Phil Rauscher was introduced to the coaching staff last year? So, like, he was in that room.
Last year they opened up a new blocking scheme that we needed because we got clobbered by Mississippi the year before, or Ole Miss the year before. And they're running different blocking schemes now that they haven't run, which is important now because of all the stuff we're seeing. I mean, the stunning that goes on now is insane.
Yeah. I think Rauscher's been a huge play for me, right? I heard he's a lot more vocal than Searles. He's a lot more. Everybody said that Searles was a little bit too laid back, and like when you have Kirby as a head coach, when the defense you have, I mean, it's so funny to watch, like, the defensive staff interview and they talk, and you have Schumann and you have T-Rob and you have all those guys. Man, they talk football so much. When they have to, like, realistically talk English and, like, communicate with you on a level of interview, it's pretty hilarious, man, because they don't know how to do anything but talk in, like, football terminology. Like, basically, like, you want me to do what? You want me to tell you? No, we just talk about, like, who we're going to blow up, why we missed that gap, they just don't even know how to communicate. So when you flip over to the offensive side of the ball, we already know Bobo is more of a finesse guy. Like, he's not a get in your face guy, right? You look at receivers. I mean, Coley, I would agree with that too. If you ever watched Coley kind of coach, I think Todd Hartley. I think he's kind of an in your face guy, but Searles was the same. So like maybe Rauscher added a little bit of bite to that
I'll tell you,
offensive
man,
side.
big linemen are typically laid back dudes, so you need a coach that actually like stirs them up, and gets them mad and mean, and because you'd be around a bunch of big guys, they're just laid back dudes.
Yeah.
You don't see them get wound up too much.
Yeah, I agree.
The linebackers, they stay wound up.
You have to be
They've been the
wound
hype
up to play
squad
linebacker.
this fall, right, bro? I just think they're on like something different, dude. I heard Chris Cole is like Kirby said. Chris Cole is man. Let me see if I can get this right. He's finding new ways to expand his energy every single day, and I'm thinking to myself, like a rubber band, like we just stretch it this far today, and then tomorrow it's like that. Just sounds scary, man. Like it's like they have to hold him back sometimes, right?
It's awesome.
But I heard like he's a freak out. This is not just blowing smoke up everybody's tail either, man. I've heard he's a freak athlete, man. He's pushing to the max every single day. Best shape he's ever been in his life. And I know that's continued to being said over and over, but it's just crazy to hear, man. What about cornerbacks? Like, what do we think from the cornerback position? Do we think it's pretty much, I mean, we know Ellis is kind of CB1. I mean, do we think it's DeMello? Is there anybody else that's standing out? Or do we think pretty much winning the job and who we'll see run out on, that first possession is basically DeMello and Ellis?
Yeah, I think Ellis and DeMello, and it's going to be shut down.
I think it's theirs.
I failed you guys. I failed you. Fish.
I was just going to say, I think 1 and 2 are that's pretty cut and dry. I think we've got 2 shutdown corners, and that makes Kirby happy because we're going to play man and we're going to blitz and we're going to rush the quarterback, and we need some shutdown dudes over there, and I think we have a couple men, the Ellis Island and DeMello.
I like Ellis Island. It's a good one. So you got Ellis and DeMello. I'm hearing some really good things from Gentry Williams as well. I think those 2 guys are going to come up, but a lot of good depth. The Braylon Conley, I started hearing his name called more. It's been very quiet on the Braylon Conley conversation. Rich, what about you?
What about
who do you think's really taking this step over there?
They were talking about Dinkins earlier in the summer, but I didn't hear anything today on him.
Yeah, I think Dink's going to probably run more at safety.
Safety, the other safety.
Yeah, but I also will tell you that, I mean, this just goes to show how, I mean, there's not been a lot of people that are allowed in these practices, man. They've been pretty hush-hush, but coming out of scrimmage 1, apparently the rumor is that if we had to go out and play tomorrow and the depth chart had to be pushed out right now, the most dependable person playing on the other side of KJ Bolden is Kyron Jones.
Oh, okay.
So apparently in the scrimmage on last Saturday, it was legit. Like it wasn't like one of those crazy stupid hits in a preseason that's happening in the NFL everywhere you're seeing, but like he leveled a couple of guys that was like clean, and everybody was like, and that was the Greg Blue mentioned. It was like, and he's been he had the injury last year, and he's been in the system. But if tomorrow we had to put somebody out there, a lot of UGA staffers and people covering Georgia are like, you're probably going to see KJ Bolden and Kyron Jones back there, and you're probably going to see Khalil Barnes at the star, and you're going to see DeMello and Ellis Robinson out there 1 and 2. And that, I mean, listen, I think KJ has always been a very intriguing guy back there, a little bit different than Malachi in the last few safeties that have come through our organization, because he likes to hit, he likes contact. But dude, if you can land somebody on the other side of him that likes to step up in the box and lay the wood, this defense just gets really, really dangerous, man. You guys agree?
So, I agree, and I think with the secondary being that strong, I just wonder what it's going to look like if we don't have any edge rush and our interior linemen can't break through. Are these guys going to be able to handle that. You know, the old saying is, I don't care how good your corners are, they can't cover forever.
Right.
And we've gotten hurt. We got hurt against Ole Miss with that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Trinidad was running around back there like a chicken with his head cut off. And like we were taking bad angles, and oh my God, it was so disappointing. It was so disappointing watching all that happen last year against Ole Miss and Trinidad and then game number 2. Like,
I mean, I'm hoping that that's not gonna be the case. I'm hoping we'll be able to get edge pressure and pressure up the middle. And if we do that, I mean, our defense is going to carry us all the way probably to the national championship or deep into the playoffs. Because, I mean, if we have those issues addressed, we're talking about a championship defense, basically.
Oh yeah,
right. What about? I mean, we talked about wide receiver. We talked about O-line. I mean, I think we kind of know. We talked a little bit about the safeties, corners. We haven't talked much about the defensive line. I mean, obviously, Elijah Griffith, a healthy, Gabe Harris. You got Xavier McLeod. A lot of depth here. But like, how important is it for this line to stay healthy? Because, I mean, you got to look at this defensive line and go, man, if they can stay healthy and these linebackers are the linebackers that are going to, obviously will be in there day one. I mean, I don't want to say it too early, but who's running the ball on Georgia this year when that comes to play? And you're slipping Khalil Barnes down in the – I mean, if you can get these safeties not scared of something coming over the top, I mean, you start getting that star up in the game too with those linebackers, and it's shut down city. But how important is it that coming off of this? I mean, and Fish just said it, but like coming off these last 2 playoff years where we didn't really make a lot of noise, to have this defensive line. Fish will let you comment for like how important is it to have them healthy? Because I know you mentioned about it too with Jordan Hall. Well, how important is it for this line to be healthy?
It's super important. Like Rich alluded to earlier, like we've got to get some push up the middle. Yeah, we're going to stop the run, but we got to get to the quarterback. We can't be at the bottom of the SEC or FBS or whatever in sacks. Like we can't be that far down at the bottom. We can't expect to get where we want to go if we can't put the quarterback on the ground, and that's just part of winning. That's just part of it. And now we go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll say it in a minute.
I was going to say we've done more with less before. Like 2021, like we didn't lead the nation in sacks, but that's probably one of the best defenses we've ever had. But we were near the bottom of the SEC in sacks, but everywhere else was top of the line. Like that D line was so good, it made up for our lack of getting the pressure on the edge.
Right. And what I was going to say is, Kirby's philosophy is not necessarily go after sacks, but his philosophy is pressure the quarterback and contain him, not let him get out of the box. But the thing is, even if we're not producing sacks, if we're pressuring him and making him get rid of the ball, that's when the turnovers occur. And I'd rather have turnovers than – I mean, well, I don't know. I love hitting quarterbacks, but I'll take either one. But
heck yeah.
Right. Which player are you guys looking at the closest? Like when you're going in and you want to hear the news, like what is the player you want to hear the most about to have a peace of mind about a particular area? I'll go first in this one. I really want to know a lot about how much Caden Prothro is going to add to this offense, right? We have a very stout. Another name that I would say that I mix in there that's about neck and neck for me is where's Ethan Barbour in all this? Because we've heard a lot about Elias. We've heard about Jaden Riddell. We haven't heard much about Lawson, but we all know Lawson is a touchdown machine. But like, I look at these 2 guys and I go, how much is Caden Prothro? Because we hear it talked about all the time. We're going to come up in conversations about explosiveness. So obviously they're putting him in areas where he can add, the explosiveness to the game. And I actually got a chance to see him with his mom and when he wasn't in his pads. This is a really good looking kid, man, as far as like, he's not just some, string bean in pads. Like, he's a pretty cut kid, man. Like, he's not going to catch the ball and you're like, all right, well, that's all he's going to do with it. I mean, he'll lower his head and he's going to get some yards, but I would love to see, I want to know more about Caden Prothro and where he's going to be in this plan, as well as like, is Ethan Barbour in this plan? Because if they are, this is my answer to the wide receivers, right? We're going to have some guys at the wide receiver room step up, but this is my answer. A 5 deep tight end room is my answer to where we find that explosiveness from the wide receiver core per se.
And to complement that, if the offense went more with the tight end room, if you had a reliable receiver, it's going to open him up for the big play. If your wide receiver might not get 5 targets a game, but he might get 1 or 2 touchdowns because we predominantly are going with our tight end room. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense.
And that would be awesome.
Takes a little pressure off the receivers too, because when I'm a linebacker and I have to start watching personnel, like that gets tricky, man. Like if I'm middle linebacker and that's usually the sheriff on that side, right? So he's looking and he's going, okay, wait, man, if a Sokovie White-Helton, which it was really cool to see his interview today and hear him talk about like how good some of these defensive secondary people are. I mean, when he was asked the question, man, he was just like he was kind of dumbfounded for a minute. He was like, I don't have the words, man. Like it looked like he's going up against like somebody that he fears every day. He's like, man, they're explosive. They're legit. It's hard. He's like, Ellis Robinson, he can play receiver because he challenges you in that area and he's going, and he's not just out there to knock the ball down. He wants the ball. He doesn't want to just defend the ball. He wants the ball. So, I mean, at the end of the day, man, like it's just really cool to see from a perspective of like how these linebackers are going to adjust to. I got Caden Prothro here. This is a little bit of a superhero right here. What am I going to do with him? And then I got to figure out what I'm going to do with Sokovie White-Helton if he really is taking on some of the persona that Branch took on last year. And oh, by the way, like it could get weird, man. You see I got Jaden Riddell running in motion. Like, what's he doing? Is he getting the ball? I don't know. It could get to be so complex.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be exciting this year if our offense was completely unpredictable?
Yeah. And I know what viewers are going to say is what is Bobo going to do about that? That's probably a loaded episode that we'll cover before we step on the field. But that was, I think Prothro, and I think, Ethan Barbour, like, has he moved up enough to where this entire tight end room is a problem? Fish, what about you? Like, who's a guy you're going to be looking at to like, I want to know what they're saying about him coming out of camp, and that will give me a little bit of peace of mind about this area. Who's that guy for you?
Well, we're obviously going to be running a lot of 32 personnel this year, right? Like with all the tight ends we got. But no, my dude, and who I think is going to be an important part of the offense is Dwight Phillips. He's going to be our big third down guy. He's going to catch a lot of screens, because Bobo loves him a screen. And Sokovie White-Helton at the same time to piggyback on that. They're going to have a big part to play in the offense and taking some of the pressure off of our receivers to make big plays. And I think that's really important. I think we got to have a really good third down back. And I think he's going to look a lot better than Cash did. No offense to Cash. Cash was awesome. But I think we're going to get a lot more production out of Dwight.
I like it. I like that. I like that.
So is this an offense exclusively question or no?
No. I like it. If you got a player, I'm like, man, I really want to know.
Griffin. I want to know, is Elijah Griffin the guy? I want to know, is he the guy that's going to take a double team every play? And is he the guy that's going to break that double team and make plays? Is he going to be the disruptive guy in the middle that we've been looking for since Carter left? That's what I'm waiting to see. Is he going to be the guy? Because I heard he was going to be the guy when he was in high school. He's going to be the next guy. So we'll see. I'm looking for that guy because I know when you have that disruptive guy in the middle, it makes that defense so much better.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
It allows your linebackers to be more aggressive, and it allows your defensive backs they have a lot of comfort when they have a guy that's disruptive like that.
I like
And they're
it.
gonna
I love that, man.
get a lot of turnovers.
If I could hear from all of those, man, that would definitely give me some closure. Kirby spoke about it today. He was like, and this is why I said it was very Kirby-esque, because I've heard different. But when you're looking at the team in Kirby's eyes, Kirby's not looking at it as this is going to be our productivity. He's always going to look and go, that is an opportunity for productivity, but I have to see it day in and day out. And he's a guy that, as far as a team is putting up, like, he's got to see that happening on Thursday or Friday when a walkthrough is done. And we know our walkthroughs are not even, it's notorious for Kirby to have him out there in, pads and helmets and shorts on walkthrough days, because of the fact that, he feels like there needs to be some thumping going on. We need to not lose that edge. And if he feels like the edge in the week is going strong, he's not going to divert just to get them out of pads and to kind of dial the week down, So he's a guy that he wants to see the productivity all the way up until we snap the ball the very next day. And I love that so he's not going to come out and say it. Whereas I do trust some of the reporting that's going on about some of these guys that are obviously going to give us a lot of extra help in some areas. I always like doing this towards the end. This is more like for our viewers, but let's do some flash questions to end the night. And it'll be more of less kind of detailed talking through it, but more just for viewers, like, what do we think about this? Because after this week, next week, we're going to be coming out going, what does this depth chart look like? We're going to try to hone in on what we think the starters will be on the offense and defense. We're going to really break it down, look at the depth chart from top to bottom. And then the next week, man, we're into week 0. We got people kicking off in Dublin, Ireland. I don't even know if North Carolina's going to have a coaching staff to make it to Dublin, Ireland. Who knows?
Dude.
But and then we got week 0. Man, we got some exciting games, Auburn and Baylor. A lot of good stuff going on. And then we're into game 1 for Georgia. But let's do a little lightning round here. We'll start with, like we always do, we'll go with Fish, Richman, and then I'll end it up. And for us, we know these, we kind of have these questions answered in the back of our mind, but for viewers, people sometimes want to know, like, what we think about this. But which player are you concerned, like, as far as which player are you concerned about the most? Like, when I say concerned, like, do you think there's more hype to it? Like, are you, like, one player you're the most concerned about that maybe the hype meets the productivity? Fish, go.
Concerned about
that the hype meets the productivity. This one's very easy for me. I'll give you a breather so you can think about it. For me, it's Talon Taylor, man. The hype versus the productivity. We've heard about Talon Taylor. We've put a lot of pressure in the air out there about him being a 5-star guy. Is the hype going to actually meet the productivity this year? Because if not, what you don't want to see coming out of Georgia is this. You don't want to see him transferring out after this year and then going and, leading some other team. Else. Yeah, like, that's what you don't want to see, man. Fish, what about you? One guy that's not meeting the hype this year that you're concerned about that might not.
Well, my answer is kind of, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going with Gabe Harris.
Okay.
Because it's not really about hype meeting expectation. It's more or less like, we know what he was doing before he got hurt last year and how much he stepped up his game in the pass rush, and then he got hurt. So are we going to get that same productivity healthy this year? Like, is he still going to be on that track, or did he digress a little bit after getting hurt?
Okay. Interesting take, but I liked it. Richman, who you got?
I'm going to go back to Elijah Griffin. Is he going to be another journeyman defensive lineman, or is he going to be a stud and go in the first round? That's kind of where I'm camping out.
Fish, is Gunnar Stockton ready to be more known as a guy that is the leader of this team and is one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, or is he a game manager this year? Not what we need him to be. What is he this year? What do you think?
I think he's definitely the face of the team. We're going to live and die with him. Like we're gonna ride or we're gonna fall. And I hate to put that much pressure on it. I don't like putting all my chips on the quarterback, but we haven't Puglisi or Montgomery. They're both unproven. We don't know what we got there. We don't know what they would look like in a game situation, like a high intense deep into the fourth quarter SEC game. We're down by 5. We need a touchdown. Like what are they going to do? But we know what we're getting out of Gunner. So he's got to be that dude this year. And I know I said I compared him to a great game manager, earlier in the show. But on top of that, he's got to be both. If he can do that, he's got to be a hybrid. He's got to manage the game like any good quarterback needs to do, but he's also got to make plays. He's got to be not afraid to go deep every once in a while, to open it up, to let it rip. We need explosives, which it seems to be the key word of camp this year.
Yeah, Richman, is Gunner the dude this year, or is he a game manager?
Based on what Kirby's saying, look, Gunner's never given us any reason to doubt him. He's always done the job. He's always been consistent. If he's legitimately making the strides and improvements that Kirby's talking about, if he plays a clean season, he's probably going to be sitting up there in New York City at the Heisman Club. He might not win it, but he should be sitting up there. I think he's going to be the dude, man.
I like it. I agree, man. I think Gunner's going to be a dude, man. I loved when Sokovie White-Hilton said he's got more touch this year. I'm like, hold on. So we have a guy back there that's going to enhance this wide receiver room, make it easier for them, right? Not just throw it within the target, but we may have some dots out there, right?
And I'll tell you something else. When you just take into consideration the players, the way that they regard him and the way they talk about him, I mean, man, you don't ever hear anybody say anything. You hear the press all over the country make comments about him, but you don't ever hear any of his players. They believe in him.
Right.
100%.
Record prediction, Fish. Record prediction for the season. Go.
12-0.
You think it's going to happen?
I want it to happen so bad.
Is it wanted to happen, or what do you think is going to? I'm going to try to give
That's the fanboy in me. All right, I'm going 11-1.
I'm with it, bro.
Realistically, I'm going 11-1.
Which man?
11-1.
Yeah. I won't be cliche. I think it's 11-1. 9-game SEC schedule. On the road versus Ole Miss. Home versus Oklahoma.
It's Ole Miss. That's the one.
Alabama at Alabama. I mean, it's just the curse.
Ole Miss has always played us tough at home.
I just don't want Ole Miss to become. I don't want us to beat Alabama and Ole Miss become. I need to see Ole Miss. A lot will be told.
It's
Ole
not
Miss
Ole
versus
Miss.
LSU.
It's Trinidad.
Yeah, but Trinidad.
It's Trinidad.
Trinidad has only played one game like that, and it was against us.
If it is Trinidad, they need a shirt that says it's Trinidad. It's Toddy Trinidad. I don't know. Toddy Trinidad. Toddy Trinidad. I don't know.
Trinidad and Toddy.
Does this Georgia team make the college football playoff? Fish, yes or no?
Yes.
Richman, yes or no?
Yep.
Yeah, I got us in the playoff. And the big question, what do you think? You think this is a national championship year for Georgia, being not the fanboy, but being realistic? And if you do, who do you think they play against in the national championship? Fish? Probably all are going to say yeah, because you're going to want to say. Who do you think they play against?
No, I got us playing Ohio State.
I want to have this recording, hopefully for the end of the year, to go back and go where we right. So, I mean, Richman, you got us going to the Natty, and who we playing if you do?
We're going to the Natty, and I don't know who we're going to play, but it ain't going to be Indiana.
Nope.
I got us going to the Natty and playing Oregon. I think that'd be a cool.
That would be sweet.
Natty, that'd be Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart. Yikes, man.
That would be nice.
Yikes. All right, so second scrimmage Saturday between the hedges. A lot to come out of that. We will start talking about that next week. We'll start being able to preview some games around the SEC coming at us week 0. We're getting there, boys. We're getting to pick'ems, right? We're getting back into the swing of things. We'll be able to pick the Dublin, Ireland game next week. And then we'll talk about Scrimmage 2, what to expect out of Scrimmage 3. And I can go ahead and tell you, Kirby's not going to admit this, but we're probably going to be doing we're probably going to be doing some Arkansas prep. I would imagine. Not much Western Kentucky and Tennessee State prep, but yeah, it's going to be a really crucial week heading up to Scrimmage 2. Hopefully we can stay healthy, and hopefully, man, we can continue to move in the right direction. I usually always have my handy dandy. Let's see real quick. Let's pull it out for the fans.
Handy dandy.
Man, I lost it. What do we have, man? We got as of right now 8:44, 17 days till between the hedges. 17. So, as they call it, man, 2 more Saturdays, and we got scrimmages to show for it, though. So, Fish, final thoughts tonight?
Look, be cautious of any team coming out of this heat unscathed heading into the season. These teams are going to be different. They're going to be built different, man. Practicing in this heat and humidity. If we can come out on the other end, man, that's going to say something about the dudes that these teams have lining up, to play these games. That it's no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke. 115 degree heat index is real. Like, that's where we've been the past couple of days. It's real.
I agree.
So
I'm looking forward to talking
boys,
next week about. Yeah, I agree. Looking forward to talking about some upcoming games too, man. Picking some games, that'll be cool. Richman, final thoughts?
Yep.
Man, I'm just ready. I'm ready to see this improvement in the wide receiver room and see this defense get a little pressure on the quarterback. And I think the season's ours to lose. I mean, if we stay away from injuries and we can shore up those 2 areas, I don't see why we don't make a good hard play for a national championship.
Exactly.
I love it, man. I love it. Final thought for me, same as last week. Zippers.
Zippers.
Hey, listen, if you haven't already done so, please go and like and follow us. We are on YouTube, Dogs Down South, Facebook, Dogs Down South, Spotify, Dogs Down South, and 24 hours later, Apple Podcast, Dogs Down South, and TikTok. If you haven't already done so, please go and like and follow us on TikTok. We will be going live there a few times during the week. We've been going pretty much, hope to get some of these guys in there during the week as well if they have time, but it's been a fun crowd over there. Ellis Robinson dipped into the chat last night, made his presence known, and is really excited about this season as well. So it was cool to have Ellis Robinson go follow Dogs Down South on TikTok.
Not every day you have the best cornerback in the country in your chat.
And just in there chilling, right? Asking questions. I'm like, I had to click on the thing, man, and be like, am I talking to Ellis? I'm like, I'm talking to Ellis, man.
And so, apparently he's a believer. He believes it. Yep. He believes this team's going places.
Yeah. He don't stay too high. He don't stay too low, man. So I like that. So, boys, it's been good. It's been fun as always. Looking forward to Scrimmage 2. Looking forward to recapping it next week with you all, and I hope you guys have a great week. And as always on Dogs Down South, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Touchdown, touchdown.